So there was that one time I went ziplining in Belize. Probably one of the least smart things I've ever done. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host Tony, here with a little bit of a story time, really a cautionary tale. I want to talk about knowing your limits on a cruise, not only just for your sanity, but also for your safety. And I'm going to demonstrate that point with a little bit of a story time. Now look, I'm a big guy. I'm what you would consider, plus size, fluffy, big and tall, fat, whatever you want to say. And there's certain things I cannot do when I go on my cruise vacation. And I don't know if everybody knows it out there, but excursions and activities and venues and vehicles, many of them have weight limits. And that's the main message I want to drop on you today. Make sure you do not do activities that you are too heavy for. It could be dangerous. There's a very tragic story playing out here in Florida over the last week about a young man who got on an amusement park ride. He was ejected from the ride and he passed away. And what's really tragic and what's coming to light this week is that the maximum weight for that amusement ride was around 268, and the young man who passed away weighed over 300 pounds. And so even though he was able to board the ride, get the green light for the restraint, something went wrong during the operation of that ride, and his weight could have been a contributing factor. They're still investigating that, but what is known is that he did weigh more than the maximum weight for that ride. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks this week as I was looking for excursions for the cruise that I'm going on this weekend. Every one of those excursions have a weight limit, and some of those weight limits don't make sense to me. Some of them definitely do, but it threw me back to 2019, November of 2019, when I went on this excursion. And the way I ended up on this excursion is it was gifted to me. We had friends on our group cruise, our friends Eddie and Julie, son and a mother. Julie wasn't feeling up to going on this excursion, but she didn't want Eddie to go alone, and she asked me if I would go, and I'm like, I'll go, but I know I'm too heavy for the zip lines. I'll go, and we'll go from there. And so we went on this excursion into the jungle of Belize, and when we got there, the very first thing that was offered to us was the zip lining. And I'm like, man, I'm just going to sit this one out. But as I was contemplating that, everybody was getting suited up in their harnesses. And I just went up to the guy and I said, look, I think I'm over the weight limit, which I don't even remember what the weight limit is. I said, I think I'm over the weight limit. I don't think I'm going to do this. And the guy's like, no, I think we can get the harness on you. And if we can get the harness on you, you're okay. So what transpired after that is certainly embarrassing, but I will share it with you. It took our friend Mark and Eddie, it took them cajoling my big body into this tiny harness, and I finally got into this harness, and I went ziplining, and it worked out fine. I didn't get injured, anything like that. I didn't feel unsafe on the zip line, and it worked out fine, other than the fact that I'm like, okay, this is how I justified it. I'm like, I'll go ziplining, I'll make video of it with the GoPro, and then this will be beautiful for the channel. Well, right when I got to the point of doing the zip line, the battery died on the GoPro and my tripod broke. So that was a bummer. Then poor Mark and Eddie trying to get me out of this harness. We had to go into a back room because by the time they got this harness off of me, Mark and Eddie got to see more of me than they probably had hoped for that day. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get injured that day, but thinking about it, in hindsight, in retrospect, it was a really dumb thing to do. I should not have gone on the zip line knowing that I was over the weight limit. I really put myself in danger. And so that's the message. I just wanted to put that out there with a little bit of a story time. Make sure when you're doing these activities on the cruise ship, especially if you're a larger person, if you're big and tall, if you're plus size, if you're a fluffy cruiser, make sure that you are heeding these weight requirements, because they'll certainly be there. And make sure you're checking. Again, all the excursions that I'm looking at on the cruise next week, almost every one of them has a weight requirement. And even some of them that I wouldn't think would have a weight requirement has a weight requirement. Just be careful. That's all I wanted to say. That's kind of what was on my heart, especially after reading about what happened here in Florida with this young man. Those numbers are there for a reason, and while it is disappointing that maybe we can't participate, it's better to be safe, even if you think you can participate. Now, I did make a video that whole day in Belize. Has some pretty cool video of the cave tubing. If you want to see that, watch this video next. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.